Welcome back to the Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and once again I'm joined by Kevin Graham to look back on the first 45 minutes at Easter Road. Quite an uneventful first half, Kevin. All the possession, creating very little. What do you make of that?
It's very typical of this season. Nothing much has changed. We're dominating possession, as I would expect us to do. Well, maybe Hibs are allowing us to have the ball. Hibs are very well organised. They are stopping the passing lanes through the middle, and they're allowing us to go out wide and just to whip aimless balls in, and they're comfortable that Porteous and Hanlon are going to deal with any balls that we're putting into the box. We're not finding any space whatsoever. Everything we seem to be doing is in front of the Hibs defence, and we didn't seem to have the pace to get in behind them. Again, it looks like Hibs have worked out what I said earlier on. Give the ball to your fullbacks and they just whip it into the box aimlessly.
There's no target. There's no target in the box, Kevin.
No, so they've congested the middle area, congested the half spaces, and not giving Rogic any time on the ball. When Mo or Christie gets it, they have to cut inside to all the traffic, and they're allowing us to go outside for Laxalt. It's mainly Laxalt. Frimpong's been very quiet. Laxalt just to put an aimless ball into the box, which is food and drink to them. And they're playing an extremely high line as well, and they've had a couple of chances on the counter attack. A great tackle by Ayer. In that first half there. Look, when you're dominating games like this, you should be making that team work. But Hibs do seem very, very comfortable against us, even though we've got a lot of the ball and a lot of the pressure.
That seems to be the case. Aero250, you're commenting on YouTube. For anyone who's viewing on YouTube, get yourself subscribed to the channel. We've got massive amounts of content coming for you over the next months and years, hopefully. Aero250, from what I've seen of the first half, we've dominated the game, just final ball hasn't been there. And Hibs have defended relatively well. So I think you're in agreement with Aero250. You're talking about the final balls not being there. I just think there's nothing to actually aim it at. You're looking at Rogic. Rogic's a wizard. Every time he gets the ball, he glides past 2 or 3 players, Kevin, but he's doing it on the halfway line. You want that on the 18-yard line.
Hibs are allowing him to do it in areas where he's not going to hurt Hibs, where they've got plenty of bodies back to block the through passes. There's been a couple of crosses that have went in, which have missed the first Hibs ban, and there's been nobody coming in that back post. It's one of these things, we just seem very, very predictable, but there isn't enough there to say, if we get one chance, we can maybe take it. Because if we keep on dominating the ball the way that we're dominating the game, one chance has got to come at one point. But that's just hoping one chance comes.
What you're looking for at that point, I think, Kevin, is a piece of individual brilliance, and that's happened so many times to get us out of a similar rut. Gary Murphy 7 commenting on Twitter, we just seem very predictable with no spark. Absolutely predictable. I mean, Porteous and Hanlon, it's food and drink to them, Kevin, playing in the balls, as you say, from Frimpong and Laxalt, neither of whom have played particularly badly. There's been, plenty of opportunities to get the ball in, but we've even seen Marciano, who I think performed particularly well for Israel during the week. He's spilled a couple of balls, but I don't think he's been tested. He's actually not been tested. From all the creative players we've got.
He's flapped at a couple of cross balls, that's about it. And then set plays look like our best chance of scoring in that first half. Moy should have probably done better with a header just before half time. We've played a lot of nearly good balls, and we lack a bit of combinations. We lack getting combinations going on either wing or in the middle. Rogic is not linking up enough with the three in front of him, and we just need to be better. We need better combinations. We need better, it doesn't seem to be any diamonds appearing anywhere round about the pitch. We just seem to be waiting on that flash of individuality, individual brilliance to open the goal scoring for us. I do fear for us if we go a goal behind. I think because I think that will just fall into Hibs' gameplay. They'll gladly hit that long diagonal ball Boyle all day if they go 1-0 up.
They'll sit at nothing each for as long as they can. Kevin, you made a point earlier on about, we could create one chance. I think Hibs will be thinking exactly the same. I think a simple ball over the top has us all over the place at times. As you say, there was a fantastic saving challenge from Ayer. There was also something that the commentary team didn't pick up on, where the balls hit Ayer's hand twice in the box, and thankfully Bobby Madden didn't do what he's been known to do previously and give away rash penalties. So I think, I'm not going to say we're riding our luck, absolutely not, because at no point have I felt under pressure from that Hibs side. But I do have a view that, a long ball creates far too many problems for Celtic. A simple long ball. Gary Murphy said before that there's no spark there. We had, I think, 5 corners in the last 5 minutes of that half, Kevin, and we created 0 from them. The spark I'd be looking for at that stage is sparky. Bring on Lee Griffiths, because Ryan Christie's actually having a very good game. But he's very ineffective with the corners. He really is. And sometimes I think people focus quite a bit on that, and that takes the shine off his overall performance, because the corners are pretty useless, to be honest with you. You bring on Griffiths and that actually gives you a threat. If you're winning the corners, I feel that there's far more of a threat with Griffiths on them. I'm not saying bring him on for the corners. I actually think you need to bring him on to change the whole last third of that gate, the part there, because the ball's come to Ayete. He's not actually had much, but to be honest, it's the same old story. He's one up front. He seems isolated.
Hibs are quite happy for him to come deep and try to create something.
And Roderick's doing the same, isn't he?
He's coming deep and he's trying to link up with other creative players so he can get in behind. And it's not happening. It's really not happening. With the set plays, I think that's looked like our best area to score in that first half. And that was mainly down to the goalkeeper and the Hibs defence looking just as bad as what we are defending set plays. But it's one of these things. Both managers are likely to be quite happy in that changing room just now. Both managers are likely to be quite happy with the way that first periods went, and they'll be willing to give it 15 minutes again to see how it's going.
Well, I think you're right about the fact that Neil Lennon will certainly be willing to give it 15 minutes, because I was going to ask the question, what do you do to make that change? Kenny Wilson coming in from YouTube. Great to hear from you, Kenny. Biggest problem is a lack of pace up top. I don't think we've had anything up top. We've had nothing to stretch the back line. You've got Pochis and Hanlon. By the way, good players for Hibs. I think they're staple parts of that Hibs side. But they're not being stretched, Kevin. And I think, listen, I'm not just going to say, throw in Griffiths every time we've got a problem. But he does stretch the back line, does he not?
We need something up there to give them problems, to make them turn for us to get in behind. We actually do need to, drag them out. They're sitting that far deep. We need to drag them out and get in behind. And there's been a couple of long balls. Ayete hasn't had the pace to get in behind Porteous and Hanlon. So it needs a change. Whether that means bringing on Griffiths, bringing on Eddie, I don't know. But one decent ball in by our fullbacks, one decent ball in for Laxalt, I think that could change the game. It could really, really change the game.
I think Bromsgrove Boy makes a good point in that our corners are as effective as throw-ins. Because we don't get anything on the end of a corner. As I say, I'd like to see the stats. No stats were forthcoming on Hibs TV there, but I'd like to see how many corners we had in that first half. I counted 5 in the last stages of the first half there, Kevin, and we absolutely created 0, zilch from them. What you're looking for in the box, who's your target? I think El Yunusi's decent enough in the air, as you say, had a chance himself, but you're probably looking for Ayer, you're probably looking for Beaton, your centre halves, because we just don't have that target in the middle. And I'm not saying we should revert to playing long balls, but there was a moment where Chris Ayer got the ball, great crossfield pass to Frimpong, and it opened Hibs up. So maybe just try something a wee bit different.
We don't seem to have a game plan. We don't seem to have, I talk about identity quite a bit. We don't seem to have an identity where we know where the combinations are going to come from to break teams down. We just seem to leave it up to the players to come out with those. I'm getting some abuse today. We just seem to leave it up to the players as if they go, we've got the better players, it will eventually happen. And if you get days like today where you're up against a decent side, a decent well organised side, you're looking for one of the Hibs players to make a mistake. or a bit of individual brilliance for us to get away with it. You look at the Motherwell game last week, our opening goal came for a Motherwell mistake. That's where we're looking at again. And we need to go a goal in front. We need to score the first goal here.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, Kevin, we've said this in the past. I'm just keeping an eye on Hibs TV, obviously with the volume down because David Turner's speaking, but I'm just keeping an eye on that for the second half. But we've said this so often at half-time. It's quite clear that we could play all night under the current circumstances without making a change, and nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to happen. Porteous and Hanlon quite comfortably, mop that up all day of the week. So why don't we make a change now? We don't do it often enough at half-time. You can't be happy at Easter Road 0-0. We need a win today.
I think Lennon will be happy with the way that the team's dominated the game. I think he will be. I think he'll be sitting there telling the team to keep it going, speed it up a bit, be a bit better in the final third. I can probably hear his team talk just now. I've heard it plenty of times. And he'll probably be happy and he'll give them another 15, 20 minutes before he'll make the change. The fact is, I think that he knows that we'll give up chances, but he hopes that Hibs are going to give up more chances than us.
I know, but then you really are just hoping that the thing resolves itself rather than taking action yourself. Now, I've seen that the players are back on the pitch, Kevin. Let's rejoin the action at Easter Road. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved. Thank you for taking all the slagging in a good-natured manner, Kevin. We'll be back at full time. Thanks, Kevin Graham, for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind at half-time at Easter Road.
Thanks very much, boys. See you.